Hello, everybody. Welcome to SportsSkope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. I know we're starting a little early tonight. As I mentioned before, on these rainy days, I like to get started early because it's been a long day and I still have some other stuff to do around my apartment, clean up and get ready for work tomorrow, which leads to this announcement. Thursdays, this is temporarily, folks. I'm not going to do a show on Thursday. My day job, 12 hours a day, driving in the elements. I don't have enough time to make that. And there's plenty of stories out there to get into. I'd love to get into the Michelle Tafoya story and everything like that, but I just don't have the time. And I'm in the transition phase of trying to transition out of this job into a radio job. Sports talk, of course, like I've told you all forever, and it's very difficult. So I'm in that resume time, and I'm gonna have to start shaving some of my time, my schedule down a little bit, and getting it crisp, so I can actually put in for some of these jobs. So you can hear me on bigger platforms eventually. Outwork people, but at some point you have to take a step back in life to take a step forward. Today there was 40, 50 mile per hour gale force winds. I drive around Nashville all day, and I'm up and down the interstate, hanging on, looking at cars in the ditch and running behind. But hey, I like to let the audience in. I'm not just getting complacent, lazy on you. I'm just running out of time, Time is not on my side. Mick Jagger had a song, Rolling Stones, time is on your side. Time's not. So this will be a temporary thing. Maybe it's just a few months, maybe a few weeks, maybe long term. I doubt it. I think the program is doing really well. But it's going to be a short show tonight. Why? Because I didn't have time to really look in depth into everything. So, rough week for the Cowboy organization. And you had an incident where Jerry Jones is writing a report about it's like a newsletter, Dallas newsletter, talking about that Dan Quinn maybe something in regards to coach one day, and Mike McCartney's not going to be there forever, and all this. And then that I'm going to play a soundbite from Rich Eisen asking Mike McCartney about this, and I'll give you my take on that. And then also the cheerleaders. There's a story back in 2015, 4 cheerleaders, an assistant for Jerry Jones specifically, public relations guy, allegedly filmed cheerleaders into the locker room. Long story about that. That was settled, but we'll get into that. But first, okay, this is Rich Eisen on Tuesday's program asking Mike McCartney about Jerry Jones saying that McCartney might not be there forever, and they're going to, there's other coaches that are hanging around that would like to take the job of the Dallas Cowboys, and mentioned Dan Quinn. So listen up. Here is Rich Eisen on Tuesday's program asking Mike McCartney about what Jerry Jones said.
Your evaluation, but it's about making the players successful, and the players have to have it cleanly as far as the way it's repped, the way they feel comfortable with it, and I've
asking
been
about
a long time.
Scheme and everything.
I've seen some great plays on film, on paper, at practice, but if it's not oiled up and if it's not totally dialed in, then it's the chances for it to be successful on Sunday are not as high as you want than they need to be. So I think you just got to stay in tune with that. Sorry for such a long answer.
It's all good. Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so part of the criticism coming your way seems to be in a veiled way from the man who signed your checks. To be very honest with you,
Jerry Jones
in a story written on DallasCowboys.com was talking about Dan Quinn coming back to your fold and mentioning how Sean Payton and Jason Garrett stuck around for a long time as assistants in Dallas because, quote, every one of those three coaches have said they'd love to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So my point is that has, in my mind, a lot of logic as to why they might not take a job now rather than one, or wait and see how the cards go in the future. The follow-up question was kind of obvious. Like, what about your current head coach, Mike McCarthy? And the quote was, Mike knows that someday somebody other than him will be coach of the Cowboys.
So, okay. And then McCartney, this is what he said.
What do you think about that supposition, Coach Mike McCarthy?
Oh, so we have an hour, correct?
Yeah, so you could tell he's really agitated about that. He kind of gives a hem-haw, politically correct answer. But I'll say this. He would have never done that with Bill Parcells. And, you know, Jerry Jones, and I've said this on other shows, the Mac, Jack, and Jim show, that Jerry Jones is a narcissist. He has to have his name with the Dallas Cowboys talked about, good, bad, or indifferent. You know? And he's one of these guys that just because you work for him, he thinks he can treat you and talk to you and about you any old way. Now, how is that not offensive? So, and if that's me, and if I'm in Mike McCartney, I'm sure McCartney, I mean, what is he, 8-9 years with the Green Bay Packers as a head coach, been assistant for a number of years. I'm sure he's got enough pension in the NFL, money saved back, millions of dollars that, and what Jerry may have been doing is baiting him to quit. And I say, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Why don't you hire Dan Quinn now? You want to humiliate me just to keep your name and your team talked about in the news. It's not the fact that I don't think the guy wants to win. I just feel like he has a desire, Jerry, to win a Super Bowl, but he also he has a bigger desire to keep Dallas in the news, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay? And that just, you know, it just grinds my, and like I said, if I'm McCartney, I go up to him, I say, okay, why don't they help you out? Won't you hire Dan Quinn now? If you got a problem the way our coach, let's go our separate ways now. Let's go ahead and part ways now and get this over with. Okay, Jerry? Since that's such a big deal, you want to keep bringing this up in the public, this bizarre over-the-top talk. Now, of course, he's probably hinting that he wants Sean Payton. Sean Payton has retired. Air quote, retired. But Sean Payton left the window open. He's telling everybody that, hey, this is a one-year thing. Mike McCartney better win the Super Bowl, or I'm going to bring in Sean Payton, the former Saints coach who used to be an assistant here under Bill Parcells. And if I'm Mike McCartney with his money, I'm sure, I'll say, no, let's do that now. McCartney get another job as a coordinator or whatever. You know, he'll get another job somewhere. But if I'm McCartney, I do that. And McCartney not doing that goes back to the point I've said. He don't want to hire people who push back. Like I said, he's one of these people, Jerry Jones, that think that they can talk to you anyways. I had a Jerry Jones. I was a realtor. Also, guys, I've had a bunch of jobs, folks. I was worked as a supervisor for a security firm, second shift. And during the day, in the morning, I did real estate. One time I had this guy from Ohio looking to find places, land to build apartment buildings. I thought, man, this is going to be great. Talked to him on the phone. Wasn't that big a deal. Didn't have too much of an issue out of him. But when I picked the guy up at the airport, and we're going to drive him out at sites to build. I knew it would be huge for me to get that commission, yada, yada, yada. But he thought because I was a consultant, I didn't work for, he didn't hire me by the hour. He thought he could talk to me any way, shape, form, or fashion. And then towards the end of the day, he finally said, I don't think I'm working. I said, well, sir, you've insulted me for 8 hours. If I had that to do over with, I would have cut him off about 20 minutes in. This was like 10, 12 years ago. I'm a lot more wise than that. I learned the people I can't work with, I cut them off quickly. I wouldn't last 5 minutes with a guy like Jerry Jones. And maybe that's why I'm still doing carrier work, because I'm not going to kiss people's rear end like him and take that crap, But so it's Jerry being Jerry. He is who we thought he was. Like Dennis Green said about the famous quote by Dennis Green when he was a coach for the Arizona about the Chicago Bears. So, and then on top of that, one of his confidants, that's how it's represented in a story. There's a story out of ESPN that team settles lawsuit from 2015 incident in 2016 for $2.4 million. 4 cheerleaders that accused Richard Derrymead, Senior Vice President of Communications under Jerry Jones, of course, his chief spokesman and confidant. That's in the story. This is from ESPN. I think they got it from Dallas Morning News. 32 years, just retired, and the team not even putting it on the website. Somehow this got leaked out to the media Tuesday afternoon. This guy was apparently filming the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders with his cell phone in the women's locker room. His side of the story was he went to use the restroom and he realized that the women were in there and got out. The women say, one of them said, we seen a cell phone pointing at us for a sustained period of time, recording us. They didn't have clothes on. Obviously, it's he said, she said, or they said, whatnot. There's also another incident where he was accused or spotted filming Charlotte Jones, Jerry's daughters, up under her dress. This is all in the act was a separate incident, not with this lawsuit. So the 3 women got $399,000 and some change, totaling $2.4 million in that lawsuit. This was in 2016. It settled. This guy, Richard, I'll just call him Richard, kept his job all the way up until just now when he retired, and it was not on the team website. Again, he was a Jerry Jones guy, may be totally innocent. I'm not accusing him. And he stays on. He stays on with the team. This comes off as very Washington-like. And that's what I was saying, when this John Gruden email story came out, I thought that was a bunch of crap from what he said about the guy with someone with the NFL. I can't remember. DeMaurice Smith, or I think he was a representative for the players under the players union, made a racial remark. Let's do all the emails. And there's some dirt on everybody, There's some dirt on everybody. But yeah, so it's a bad week for Dallas. And I'm like McCarthy. And maybe that really proves my point about who Jerry hires. Mild-mannered guys that he can get over on. And I definitely don't think he pulls that on Belichick or Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson. None of those quality of coaches he would pull that on. I'm curious. I can see where this is going. This looks like a Sean Payton 2023 deal. I wonder if Sean Payton's going to be able to deal with that without going off on Jerry. But we'll see. speaking of lawsuits and everything, and I wanted to go a little bit more into this other story, but again, last Thursday's show, I will be back Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Time. I've got more time to prepare for the program. Again, that's just the way it is for right now, folks. So the NFL hires Loretta Lynch to help fend them off this racism, Brian Flores lawsuit. And she is a political operative, worked under the Obama administration, the Democratic and everything, black and whatnot. And my thing is, again, with Roger Goodell, not really seeing the big picture here. I know that makes them look better public relation wise, but the way I see this particular issue is this woman's a big name. And this is not a positive story that you want to keep in the news if you are the NFL. So when you bring a big name like Loretta Lynch in there, you're being accused of being a racist league by Brian Flores. You are keeping your name loud and clear in the news because you're bringing that name in. Again, that's another Roger Goodell mishap. And that just proves the point that he's weak, feckless. He just doesn't make the right move when it comes to these things. Again, this Paul Tagliabue has put this. He is really, the last two commissioners have set the tone, and he's just riding the wave of what they did. He's done nothing. Everything he's done is really messed things up. He's gotten too involved, and I said this Monday, with the player issues and the off-the-field incidents, and now he's finally starting to ease away from that, and now he's going into this thing, and then he does the hiring of the halftime. He overcorrects these mistakes, and now you've got a mess on your hands. But that's just, again, they're looking at the bottom line, they meaning the owners who employ this guy, Roger Goodell, and they're going to, but he's weak. He's weak, you know. So, again, that's all I have today, guys. I will be back Tuesday, around 9 p.m. Central Time. No Thursday show. I'm going to start using my time to get out of this day job. It's killing me. It's too much. And you guys hear me the last 4 Thursdays have been really bad incidents on the highways where I really couldn't put the extra time in to prepare for the program. And or there's been hellacious storms and accidents where my day job is taking up so much of my time. I'm being counterproductive at this point doing this. So there will be temporarily no Thursday show. I'll be back on Tuesday. You'll have a good show Tuesday. I'm going to use this extra time to get in, to apply for some radio gigs. I'm preparing to move anywhere I need to do that. Okay. So that is all I have tonight. If you like the show, share the show. I will see you Tuesday here on SportsSkope. Have a good night, everybody.